Next to you, Starstruck. In Adrienette, Neighbor's Alternate Universe, Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. Chapter 1. Her new apartment is beautiful. She thanks all of her paid internships and prestigious jobs allowing her to get such a nice place. This is the last one. I gotta go soon. Have fun unpacking, Alia laughs as she scurries around to grab her belongings. Marinette rolls her eyes playfully at her friend. That is so rude, she teases. But thanks for helping me move. Thank God all the big stuff is here, but I'll have to stock the fridge in order to get Nina to stay more than 4 minutes. She laughs. Alia snorts. No kidding. Love you, Mari. Make some new friends, but not with an old cat lady. Alia teases her as she flies out the door. Marinette squeaks out a noise as her friend closes her apartment door, and she hurries to lock it. Alone in her new place, Marinette shakes her head while laughing at Alia's little comment. Of all the people she knew, she was the most likely to become a crazy cat lady. Ever since childhood, her love of cats had only grown. They were such soft and lovable creatures, loyal, smart, and capable as well. Alia loved to joke that rather than getting a boyfriend or a husband in the future, Marinette would end up with 40 cats. Admittedly, she had never fully objected to that backup plan. I guess that's done, Marinette sighs, a mere 3 hours later. She looks around. For the most part, all the boxes were emptied and folded away. She only has a few more clothes to put away in the back of her closet, but Marinette decides that she's lazy and shoves them into the back where they can't be seen at first glance. Finally, she allows herself to smile at her new home. Many, many people dream of getting their own home at age 23, and Marinette has accomplished that dream. Idly, she thinks of her younger 13-year-old self, imagining living in a design studio loft. This arrangement, however, she perhaps likes a bit more. There's a rather nice window with a beautiful view outside, after all. She looks around herself and decides that now that she's unpacked, or more or less situated, she could totally eat. It is halfway through her 3rd slice of pizza when she hears the chaotic banging on the walls. Her nose scrunches up as she stops chewing to inspect what on earth was going on. She hopes it's not what she thinks it is. The thumping doesn't seem to cease, but soon the sounds of heavy boxes dropping and wooden leads squeaking over floors mix into the original sound. Marinette frowns and stands up to hear it better. Perhaps her neighbor was also moving in, but without any help of their own. She decides to maybe go over, see if they need assistance, and of course, it didn't hurt to be a bit friendly. Unlocking her front door, Marinette gingerly walks over to her only neighbor. The insistent moves of moving noises has yet to cease. She contemplates her next moves for only a second before knocking on the door. Whatever chair her new neighbor was hauling seemed to have stopped in its tracks. The silence appears strange in comparison. She hears some more soft rustling and finally the door creaks open to reveal a man, possibly, who stands a little over a quarter of a meter taller than her. He, or they, appears to have some interesting daily sartorial choices. Long, thick green scarf, heavy shades, cat-themed beanie engulfing their entire head, and an large, almost trench coat-like jacket. Marinette thinks that she should be the worried one in this situation, yet they are clearly panicking and shaking in nervousness. Perhaps they had intense social anxiety. She had an old friend with that. It was awful for them, and she tried to help as best as she could. Hi, Marinette said with a pleasant smile. They smile back, only slightly nervously. Hello, they say meekly. Is there something wrong? Marinette frowned slightly. No, not really. I just wanted to come say hi to my new neighbor, she says, finishing brightly. Though I couldn't help but hear you move. If you'd like, I can help you, she offers. They smile at her, but look as if they want to duck back into their own apartment. Alone. Sorry for the noise, they apologize. And hi, really nice to meet you too. I'm okay with moving and help and all that. I'm good. Thank you, though, they say quickly. Oh! Marinette blinks. Well, if you need anything, just feel free to knock, she calls as she turns back to her own house. Yes, thank you, they say before closing the door quickly. Marinette stares back at it with interest. Clearly her neighbor was a weird one. No matter. It wouldn't affect her life, so she didn't have any reason to stress about it. As it turned out, her neighbor is a man who seems around her age, at least. A week into her new home, Marinette ran into him right outside and discovered that he had nice blonde hair that was well-styled and kept. His smile was sweet, albeit slightly awkward, but overall warm. From what she gathers, he's a total disaster. On more than one occasion, she hears him cause some sort of banging in his house, followed by curses. In some way, it's a funny little show she giggles at in the mornings. What will he break next, and how well can he swear it off? It's not often she sees him, but when she does, he greets her with a cute and polite smile, and they go off on their own merry way. Girl, why on earth are you calling this grown man Cat? He had a cat beanie on the first day I met him, covering his entire head. It was fitting. Besides, I like cats, so I think it's a nice nickname. Only you, Mari, Alia teases. Marinette can see her friend shaking her head, even without the video chat. She also knows that Alia can see her own eye roll. For once, she's off of her butt and not working. In the chaos of a new home, she hadn't had the time to bake and misses it a ton. Right now, she has the time to bake a new batch of something. Her phone is being propped up by her water bottle as she makes a new batch of dough. Her TV is gently buzzing in the background with the hottest celebrity gossip that she truly didn't care much about. Public statement that, in fact, Adrienette will no longer be modeling for the company. After over a decade of being the pretty face of his father's multi-million-dollar brand, what will Gabriel Agreste do, and where has Adrian gone off to? Many speculate that he has flown off with a secret girlfriend, one his father and perhaps society doesn't approve of. I, for one, think that it would be incredibly romantic. It does stand ground. Few things are reason to leave a bustling, famous family business, of course. Wherever Adrian Agreste is now, I do hope he is enjoying his time with his new girlfriend, or maybe boyfriend. Marinette mindlessly looks up, seeing that the gossiping reporter Lila girl that she sees so often on TV. She scowls just the slightest bit. I'm pretty sure that's just a rumor she made up for views, she mutters to herself. She's never worried about veracity before. Is that Lila Rossi? Alia calls over the phone. Marinette confirms it. Alia chuckles. Yeah, you almost never give off that growl. Why are you even watching her? She asks. Marinette shrugs. She's on TV and my hands are covered in flour. I'd never willingly watch a show. All she does is spread rumors and invade people's privacy. There's no class in that, as much as she may think. Marinette huffs. Yep, but people love to talk. Marinette scoffs. They can talk without bombarding a poor teenager. Alia sighs from over the phone. That's very true. Hey, Are you planning on bringing some of your baked goods over to Mr. Cat? Alia asks. Marinette thinks about it for a moment. The idea hadn't struck her, but it's a good one. He's nervous around her still, but he's kind. Perhaps a homemade treat would ease him just enough so that he doesn't jump a near meter every time she says hello to him in the halls. It worries her just a bit when he leaps like a frightened cat. She can't even imagine what created those reflexes. Maybe, Marinette hums. If I can get these muffins to look good at least. She stares at the misshapen blueberry muffins. Perhaps this is not the best batch to give to anyone, really. Just a treat for herself and probably Ollie and Nina. 2 days later, Marinette finally has some good-looking baked goods to give to Mr. Cat. Macaroons, of course. Her absolute favorite and specialty. This time around, she's flavored them with passion fruit and mango. Coconut shavings and lime finish the tropical palette. Plating them up nicely, Marinette opens her door and knocks on his, waiting patiently for the telltale signs of frantic noise to signal that her neighbor was well on his way to open the door. "Hello?" he says in nearly a frenzy. Marinette blinks at him, and he catches his breath. She realizes, again, that he is quite an odd one. "I made some macaroons, and I thought maybe you'd like some." Marinette holds them out for him to take. However, he only stares at them with confused eyebrows. She thinks he blinks from behind his shades, but she's not totally sure. His body seems completely frozen, and his hands don't reach up for the tray. It's getting real awkward on floor 7. "Thank you," he sputters out like he'd been frozen in time and was suddenly thrust into the future. Marinette bites her lip and nods. "Yeah, of course," she says, nudging the plate closer to him. "Wow," he mutters, finally taking the tray. He holds it up so close to his face, looking at it as if he was seeing something he never thought was even possible. Marinette looks at him perplexed, but he doesn't seem to notice it. "Wow," he says again, just as softly as he did the first time. Gingerly, he picks one up and stares at it like it's his lifeline and he needed it to survive. And then he pops it into his mouth. Whatever his expression is, it's something along the lines of shock, amazement, and complete and utter glory. "These are amazing," he cries up, much to Marinette's delight. "Wow! It's like I'm on a beach." Her smile grows big. "You like it?" she asks happily. He grins at her like a child. "Like it? I love it. Patent it, please. It's so good," he praises her. Marinette pushes away his compliments, feeling the red-pink blush appear on her face. "Oh, thanks," she says, backing up towards her house. He's kind. That's no doubt, but he's excited and she can't very well take 30 compliments rapid fire. 1 or 2 even already make her uncomfortable. "I'm glad you like them," Marinette says, escaping to her apartment with a wave. Her neighbor waves back. "Thank you. You are a gift from God." "Thank you." Marinette closes the door and takes a breath. Never had she become so red so quickly before. He was kind. Strange, but kind, Marinette admits as she's out with Alia for coffee. Alia snickers. "Mr. Cat's an excited one, isn't he?" she teases. Marinette nods her head. I don't think he's ever gotten a homemade gift before. His reaction was one of pure shock and confusion. Also, I can't patent fruits in a macaroon. That's just not how it works. Anyone can put passion fruit into their mix, Marinette says. Alia laughs and points to the nearby ad sign for Grand Agrest. "If you're famous and rich, you can patent anything," Alia points out. "All you need to do is get noticed by Gabriel Agrest and voila. patent pockets if you choose to do so. Marinette rolls her eyes. Sure, like that's ever gonna happen. Alia clicks her tongue and takes a sip of her coffee. You never know, she says in a sing-song voice. It's Gabriel Agreste, Marinette reasons. Everyone knows that he doesn't do charity work. Ever. Not even a hint of gossip for that nosy Lila Rossi. Marinette's nose scrunches up in distaste. It could get him lots of action and press, but he doesn't. I think for the better. Alia chuckles at her reaction. Goodness, you say that like you personally know her. I doubt you'll ever have to deal with that girl, at least in real life. Turning on the TV, though, that's a whole different situation, Alia says. But you are right. I hear his son is nice, though, Alia says with a mischievous smirk. Marinette sends her a look. Stop, she says dryly, and Alia raises her hands up in surrender. It takes them a near 2 hours to finish their coffee and conversation, but eventually Alia has to leave and Marinette has work. Marinette heads home on the busy subway, humming to a song stuck in her head. Her body sways with the melody in each subway stop. She chuckles. Ah. The busy and ultimately unimpactful life of a common Parisian civilian. Many people around the world resent their anonymity. Marinette cherishes it. Exiting the lift doors, Marinette quietly walks towards her apartment door. She hears complete silence. Mr. Cat must not be home. Perhaps he's at a friend's house or at work, because she hears none of those usual crazy and chaotic banging. Marinette reaches the apartment door and unlocks it. A smile appears on her face as she opens it. Even a month later, she's very proud of having her own home. Before she can walk in, the lift announces its use once more, and out comes Mr. Cat, running at top speed. It's rather noisy and shocks Marinette enough to gasp and turn around. Mr. Cat only has his sunglasses on. The scarf is clutched in his hand. She only has a second to note that for once he's not wearing a long trench or winter coat. He's wearing casual clothing, jeans, and a black t-shirt. By the time the second is up, he's turned towards her with a panicked expression on his face. I'm so sorry, he says in nearly a whisper. She doesn't even have time to wonder why on earth he'd say such a thing because his chest is suddenly in her face. Then, he promptly barrels into her, running them backwards into her apartment. What on earth? Marinette lets out a shriek of surprise as she falls back. She lands on the couch. Thank God, and she wonders for a brief second how much strength he must have to have pushed her so far into her house. Mr. Cat gets up, apologizing profusely as he shuts the door and locks it. Marinette can barely hear the words through her own confusion. What she does hear, though, is hordes of people and sounds of camera flashing and shutters. They're clamoring, but for what? She didn't even know. Mr. Cat stays close by the door, not speaking a word, even going as far as bringing his finger up to his lips when Marinette tried to question him on what on earth he was doing, and in her apartment no less. Running her over. It seems like it had been forever when the crowd outside her apartment finally dissipates, and Mr. Cat lets out a sigh of relief. His tense figure drops and he turns to look at her with an apologetic smile. Marinette's standing now. She crosses her arms and with a scowl taps her foot impatiently. She waits for an explanation. Hey neighbor, he chuckles lowly. I'm sorry for all this and that. Marinette barely gives him a smile. Why did you do that? She asks, quick and cut to the point. Why on earth did you run me over? Mr. Cat awkwardly scratches his neck. This, he starts. isn't gonna make much sense, but please don't scream, he pleads with her. Marinette scoffs and raises a brow at him. Scream? Please. Why on earth would she scream? Was he some sort of crazy mass murderer? Well, okay, probably not, based on the way he acted. He was much too frantic and nervous to actually be a good mass murderer, if there was such a thing. Okay, she says, and she motions for him to explain. Mr. Cat takes a breath and lifts his oversized sunglasses off his face, and Marinette is speechless. He smiles shyly at her, and she wills herself to not scream. Instead, she gasps. Adrienne Agreste?